Waves just came out with another really interesting plugin from the Equator line. This is the Equator AQ. It's like an AI EQ. It's going to listen to your vocals or listen to your music track. It's going to learn that, and it's going to set all these EQ curves for you. You can pick from the different curves, and then you can dial it in the way you want it. It's going to have a bunch of dynamic processing, or you can set it to static processing. But this is a really interesting plugin. Today we're going to try it out on vocals, guitar, drums, all kinds of different stuff, and even dialogue for spoken word. First off, let's go ahead and get to the controls and let you see what the controls are going to do, and then we'll do our dialogue test, and then we'll do this on some music. I will put my Waves affiliate link in the video's description and the pinned comment, so if you're interested in picking up this or any other Waves plugins, check out the link, but let's get to it. All right, so first off, we're going to talk about the controls and what they do. And the first thing you need to find is the learn button. Right now it says relearn because I've already learned something, but you just simply play your audio track, click the learn button, and it's going to give you all these different EQ choices. So you can do instrument or you can do mix. If you're doing the entire mix, you press mix. If you're just doing one vocal or one instrument separately, you would type instrument. Now you can put this in adaptive mode, or you can go over to like vocals, male dialogue, female vocals. You know, there's different guitar settings, or if you just leave it set up on adaptive, it'll choose what it thinks you're putting the vocals on. Now, if you look over here, you've got your low pass filters, right? You got your low pass filters that are adjustable. You just grab that and pull. You got your high pass filters that are adjustable. So after it learns the EQ, you can adjust those if you want to, and it's going to give you several different EQ choices. So basically it's got a suggested one. It's got a couple of alternatives. So each one of these will give you a different sound, and you can click on each one and find the sound that you want. So after you find an EQ curve that you like, I would come down here to this little red thing, and you can move this up or down to get more or less of that dynamic processing. Sometimes I think it does over process just a little bit, so I normally turn that down slightly on most things. Then you can adjust your lows. If you can move this up or down to get a little more lows, you can, move this left or right to pick where you're adjusting these things, and then just up, down to, change this EQ curve yourself if it's a little off. If you didn't quite like what it was giving you, there's lots of manual adjustments. You can adjust how much dynamic or static EQ you're getting with this slider here, which is pretty neat. And then you basically have your tilt shift. You can kind of pick the frequency you want to tilt shift at, and then you can move this to make it sound a little more bassy, a little more high pitched, or whatever you want to do there. And those are really the main controls. If you go over to advanced controls, you got your attack, your release, precision, auto makeup gain, limiter, balance, and mix. So there's all kinds of different things you can play with here and really dial this thing in the way you want. So I'm going to record a couple of music tracks, and then we're going to do this on some dialogue so you can hear it on my speaking voice. If you're somebody who's doing voiceover, this will give you a good idea if you like this for a speaking voice. And if you're somebody who's using this for music, I've recorded the song. I'm going to put this on the different tracks, and we'll do the entire mix as well and let you hear it in different situations. I will make a chapter for spoken word, and I will make a chapter for the music test when I do my song, but we're going to start off with the spoken word. I'm going to press play, I'm going to hit the learn button, and then I'm going to dial in the controls and get this sounding the way I want. And then after we do that, we'll turn it on and off several times so you can hear the difference between the processed and the unprocessed signal. And then we'll move over to the music test after we do the dialogue test. So let's get to it. Here comes the dialogue test. It is definitely something that's going to take a minute to get used to. I think it is going to over process. I'm going to hit the learn button there, and I think it will over process this. So I will turn the processing down a little bit to make it sound a bit more natural. And then we can always play with the controls to get it sounding exactly the way we want. This is definitely an interesting thing for sure. It's a little bit of a weird plugin, but so far I really do like it. Now we're going to do a spoken word test or a dialogue or a voiceover test, whatever you want to call it. That way you dialogue guys out there might figure out if this is something you would want to use for your speaking voice. It is definitely something that's going to take a minute to get used to. I think it is going to over process. I'm going to hit the learn button there, and I think it will over process this. So I will turn the processing down a little bit to make it sound a bit more natural. And then we can always play with the controls to get it sounding exactly the way we want. This is definitely an interesting thing for sure. It's a little bit of a weird plugin, but so far I really do like it. Now we're going to do a spoken word test or a dialogue or a voiceover test, whatever you want to call it. That way you dialogue guys out there might figure out if this is something you would want to use for your speaking voice. It is definitely something that's going to take a minute to get used to. I think it is going to overprocess. I'm going to hit the learn button there, and I think it will overprocess this, so I will turn the processing down a little bit to make it sound a bit more natural, and then we can always play with the controls to get it sounding exactly the way we want. This is definitely an interesting thing for sure. It's a little bit of a weird plugin, but so far I really do like it. I think once I really get the hang of this, I'm going to enjoy using this plugin a lot more. There's definitely a lot of stuff going on and a lot of things you can do with this, which is really cool. But this is our voiceover dialogue test. Now we're going to do a spoken word test or a dialogue or a voiceover test, whatever you want to call it. That way you dialogue guys out there might figure out if this is something you would want to use for your speaking voice. It is definitely something that's going to take a minute to get used to. I think it is going to overprocess. I'm going to hit the learn button there, and I think it will overprocess this, so I will turn the processing down a little bit to make it sound a bit more natural, and then we can always play with the controls to get it sounding exactly the way we want. This is definitely an interesting thing for sure. It's a little bit of a weird plugin, but so far I really do like it. I think once I really get the hang of this, I'm going to enjoy using this plugin a lot more. There's definitely a lot of stuff going on and a lot of things you can do with this, which is really cool. But this is our voiceover dialogue test. So let's go ahead and stop this and play it. And yeah, there we go. Dialogue voiceover test. Let me know if you liked it for voiceover or not. That actually turned out really good in my opinion. We got rid of some of the muddiness. We brightened it up a little bit and made my voice sound a lot nicer to listen to. I mean, if you spent some more time on this thing, like I said, once you learn this plugin and you really learn how to dial it in, you can make some stuff sound super nice with it. But I think I did a great job with just a few minutes of playing around with it. But let's go move over to the music test. So this is what the plugin does on a music track. All right, let's go ahead and hit the play button and let you hear the original recording without the plugin engaged. So this is what it sounds like.
She wants them fancy things, black ties and diamond rings that shine so bright, like a star at night.
All right, so that's what it sounds like without the plugin. Let's open the plugin on the entire mix, and we're going to go ahead and replay that. This is the way it sounds when we put the plugin on the entire mix, and then we'll go back through and we'll do it just on the vocals, just on the guitar, just on the drums. So if you notice right now, if you look at the plugin, we have this set to mix. That means it's going to apply this to an entire mix, and I do have this set on the master bus. That way it's getting everything at once. So let me go ahead and play that and let you hear how it sounds. It definitely sounds a little different.
She wants them fancy things, black ties and diamond rings that shine so bright, like a star at night. I've seen it all before.
All right, let me go ahead and turn that off.
She broke down at my door again.
And back on.
This has got to end, just like the time before.
So let's go ahead and just do this on the vocal track so you can hear it with and without on the vocals. All right, so let me go ahead and play this, and then I'm going to hit the learn button so you can hear what it does. Now I'm hitting the learn, so right now the plugin is learning the vocal track.
She wants them fancy things, black ties and diamond rings that shine so bright, like a star at night. I've seen it all before. She broke down at my door again. This has got to end.
All right, so that's what it sounds like after it's done its thing. Now, if you want to, you can kind of click the big red thing in the center and move this up and down to get more or less processing. So if you find that it's doing a little bit too much, which I often find that it does for vocals, I'm just going to make sure we're not processing as much. So let's go ahead and hit play, and then we're going to go ahead and just kind of move that up and down so you can hear what that control is doing, because you can easily overdo it on this control. And I think sometimes when it learns it, it overdoes it on this control. So this is definitely something you want to adjust. Okay, so let's go do this.
She wants them fancy things, black ties and diamond rings that shine so bright, like a star at night. I've seen it all before. She broke down at my door again. This has got to end.
All right, so that's basically what that thing does. I mean, it can definitely make some big improvements. I would definitely play around with the controls a little bit, because I do think it overdoes it a little bit on the processing. And then you can just click that big round thing in the center, move that up or down, and get it to where you want it. So it's only doing so much dynamic processing. So let's go ahead and turn that off and move over to the guitar so you can hear what this does on a guitar. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and play this, and then I will turn this on in a second so you can hear the difference, but here we go.
She wants them fancy things,
Let's turn it on.
black ties and diamond rings that shine so bright, like a star at night. I've seen it all before. She broke down at my door again. This has got to end. Just like the time before. I don't understand but before. Oh.
As soon as I find the EQ curve that I like best, I'm going to adjust the amount of processing to get that sounding really nice. And then I'm going to start playing with the tilt shift to make it a little brighter or a little darker to make it blend in with the vocals. So let's try that out.
She wants them fancy things, black ties and diamond rings that shine so bright, like a star at night.
Right there, that makes it blend in a little bit nicer with the vocals.
I've seen it all before. She broke down at my door again. This has got to end.
All right, so let's go ahead and do the same thing on the drum track and see how this does with the drums. I'll go ahead and start with it bypassed, and then we'll turn it on so you guys will be able to see what this sounds like. So let's go do it to it, ba-bam.
She wants them fancy things, black ties and diamond rings that shine so bright, like a star at night. I've seen it all before. She broke down at my door again. This has got to end.
Let me go ahead and hit the learn button again and redo this. So that's the original signal right there.
She wants them fancy things, black ties and diamond rings that shine
And now this is what it suggests for us to use right here.
so bright, like a star at night. I've seen it all before. She broke down at my door again. This has got to end. Just like the time before, I don't understand but before.
So basically you just hit the learn button. It's going to give you several different EQs you can choose from, and then you can tweak it with all the controls. I mean, this is a little bit of a complicated plugin. There's a lot going on here, and it's really easy to get a good sound with this, but I would definitely play with the main amount of processing, because I'm telling you right now, if you have too much of that dynamic processing going on, it can definitely ruin some tracks. So I would definitely pick the EQ that sounds the best to you, and then grab that big thing in the middle and just move that up and down and get the amount of processing you want. And that does make things sound a little nicer. And then you can just play with the tilt shift and get it sounding exactly the way you want it, but it's definitely a really cool plugin. Now let's go ahead and play this. We got the Curves AQ on the vocals, the drums, and the guitar. So let's play it with a full track mixed like that. So here we go.
She wants them fancy things, black ties and diamond rings that shine so bright, like a star at night. I've seen it all before. She broke down at my door again. This has got to end. Just like the time before, I don't understand but before. The night, she wants them fancy things, black ties and diamond rings that shine so bright, like a star at night. I've seen it all before. She broke down at my door again. This has got to end. Them fancy things, black ties and diamond rings that shine so bright, like a star at night. She wants them fancy things, black ties and diamond rings that shine so bright, like a star at night. I've seen it all before. She broke down at my door again. This has got to end.
So this is a pretty cool plugin. It's got a lot of controls, but I think this plugin does have a little bit of a learning curve, and I do think it tends to over process a little bit, at least right now. They may make some tweaks to this and update it, I'm not sure, but turning the processing down a little bit, especially on the vocals, seems to make the vocals sound a little bit better. I think a lot of the times when I hit learn on a vocal and just let it do its thing, the vocal sounds very nasally and it's like, ooh. So I just turn that processing down by grabbing that big red circle in the center, turn that processing down a little bit, and then it evens it out and gets rid of that overly nasally sound, because I think it's just cutting out too much of the low end and boosting the high end up on that processing a little too much. Like I said, they might update this thing. I'm not really sure, but I think if this is a plugin you get used to using and you use it all the time, you'll get a really quick, really good workflow if this is something you're into. I do think once you get the hang of this plugin though, this will get you some really good sounds on your mixes. It's a very different, very interesting plugin. It's very different than anything I've used before. I do think it's pretty cool and I like it. It's just one of those things where I think you are going to have to spend some time with this to really master the plugin and really get the hang of it. But once you do that, I think this plugin is going to be very awesome. I just want to say thank you so much for watching my videos. I appreciate each and every one of you a lot, and huge shout out to my channel members. The extra support really helps this channel keep running and bringing you videos just like this. If you drop down the video's description, you'll see my affiliate links where you can get some really awesome stuff like cameras, lighting, microphones, stuff to make your room look cool, air fryers, coffee pots, you name it, all kinds of amazing things. And you'll find a few other ways to help support the channel as well. So thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, maybe check out one of these other videos that are just about to pop up on the screen. I really do appreciate you guys and gals. Have a wonderful day and we will catch you next time. Lightning out. See ya.